victory. I just got another victory. Opposition said they sick of me. We turn their future to history. They try to hit me, they missing me. Ooh, they in the way. They getting stepped on back in the day. We who they slept on. You see my place. It's never.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Knicks Nation? Yeah. Welcome back to Sheer Brilliance Knicks. The sun is shining outside, and it feels good. The moon is in alignment. Gotham City, there was the bat signal that went out, and Immanuel Quickley answered it last night. Yo, I saved this to the afternoon because I wanted to see ESPN. I wanted to watch Fox News, Fox Sports. Anyway, I wanted to comb the internet and see what you're talking about. I know the language that you're using has to change. It has to change. We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about the sixth sense of Immanuel Quickley. Stepping in when needed, as every player has done during this 9-game winning streak easily. Going into this game, I know some people were like, there's no chance. They ain't gonna have no chance. Well, we always this team believes in each other. They believe in something completely different. But last night, Julius Randle needed help. He needed help last night. And we know for a fact that Immanuel Quickley's sixth sense kicked in. His sixth sense has kicked in. He knew he would have to be the piece in the starting lineup to make up the difference with Jalen Brunson being out. He knew it. And what he did was, not only did he announce to the NBA that he could be a starter, which should be some pause for concern for us, but that ain't our problem right now. But he announced himself to the NBA world that he should be thrusted into the forefront of this Sixth Man of the Year discussion. Stop playing with us. That's exactly what the New York Knicks sent as a message to the NBA world. Stop playing with us. We ain't no joke no more. Listen, you grow up, you put away your childish things. I loved it, and we're here to talk about it today. Immanuel Quickley, the sixth sense kicked in. The New York Knicks beat the Celtics 131-129. And it was a beautiful thing in overtime. Beautiful. The team does not fold. We don't fold. We're going to talk about these things. Julius Caesar Randle continues his tear and terrorizing the league. And I got news for you, Knicks fans. Bully Barrett showed up last night. Bully Barrett, RJ Barrett, Maple Mamba, he showed up last night early and often. You should be proud of your New York Knicks. You should be more than proud. You should be arrogant. Our arrogance is returning. It's returning. We here, we got now. So we're here to talk about it. Getting beyond that, let me hit the introduction. What's up, everybody? If you're returning to the channel, my SB community, let's go. Welcome back. You know I can't do this without you. You know I appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with me. We're about to do this thing today. We're going to do this thing today because we got a lot to discuss. So I want to thank you for always being there supporting the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I want to thank you. I'm going to ask you, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. All right, engage with the chat. We're here to grow this thing. And I want to welcome you to the SB community. All right. And you know you can't have those people who support you without having those people who look at you from afar who we call the ops. So if you're the ops, I see you in the comment section, commenting, sectioning, and guess what? You're rocking with the best today. But friend or foe, we welcome you. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you can continue to hate throughout the year, because we ain't going nowhere. Friend or foe, we want the smoke, and the smoke is exactly what we're bringing to you today, courtesy of the next sixth man of the year and the next Eastern Conference champions representing the East in the championship game, the New York mother flipping Knicks. And I said it. I said it. That's right. Take a picture, write it down. I don't give a fuck. Write that mother flipper down. We here to talk our talk today. We here to talk our talk today. And you know, there is no other way that we celebrate victories here at Sheer Brilliance Knicks other than Knicks Deli. So that leads me to this introduction. I am your host. My name is Sheer. So it's S-H-I-R, but it sounds like Sheer. Okay? For Sheer Brilliance. You get the little play on words. That. I am the host of Sheer Brilliance Knicks. I'm the owner of Knicks Deli. All right? But before we get into Knicks Deli, I have something that I like to call Sheer's Top 5. Top 5, dead or alive. I do my own ad-libs, okay? Now, Sheer's Top 5 is when we get a shout out to about 5 members of the SB community, all right? And the 5 members we're going to shout out today are Joshua Mason. Welcome to the SB community. Thank you for supporting me, my brother. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Still in my mind, the leading scorer of the NBA. Shout out to you, sir. I want to welcome you to the SB community. Number 3 is BKNY. Let's go. BKNY, but for the New York Knicks all day. Welcome. Next, we have Earl F. Townsend. I want to welcome you to the SB community, my brother. Keep supporting. I appreciate you. When you have an opportunity, engage. We talk about our Knicks up here. We don't care if you for the opinion or against it. We engage. We got to do it New York style. So I want to appreciate you and welcome you to the SB community. And lastly, we got Fresh 07. Let's go. Welcome over to the SB community. We're the fastest rising group, in my mind, in terms of YouTube Knick content. So we want to keep this thing buzzing. Sheer's Top 5. You are the top 5, dead or alive, here at Sheer's Brilliance Knicks. So shout out to you. All right. Now, I mentioned Knicks Deli, folks. And if you're new to the channel, you're probably asking, what is Knicks Deli? Okay. If you're from the New York area, you know exactly the value, the importance of a bodega, the importance of a deli. Okay. But if you've never visited New York and you've always wondered about that, you have to come visit New York. You have to visit a deli if you do. Okay. Now, here in Knicks Deli, how it relates to our team is there's only 4 items on the menu. Four items on the menu. Okay. First is the bacon, egg, and cheese. All right. Now, I swear to goodness, if you do visit a deli, you better not say it that way. You better say it bacon, egg, and cheese. It's one word. Okay. Like a drive-by, bacon, egg, and cheese. Okay. But here in Knicks Deli, the bacon, egg, and cheese is who are the 3 components? Who are the 3 components of the victory that when put together, man, that thing was busting. And that thing helped put us over the top and secured the victory. So we're going to look at who are the 3 players in last night's game that completely took a stranglehold over the Boston Celtics. Okay? Boston Strangle. You see what I did? I'm on a roll, goddammit. 3 players who helped secure this victory last night. They will be the bacon, the egg, and the cheese. And then next on the menu, it's the dollar slice. So we're going to talk about the dollar slice in New York. We got to talk about the legend status of pizza from the New York State. Okay? The dollar slice represents stability. So we want to look at who is the player that served as that stabilizing factor for us and helped us secure this victory. So that's what we're going to look at. Second item on the menu is the dollar slice. Third item on the menu, of course, is the chopped cheese. Now, that thing is relatively new to the New York menu, but that thing be busting. So we're going to look at who is the player that had a relatively new contribution to this game that really helped us lock it up and secure this victory. Now, you can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese, and you damn sure can't have the chopped cheese without something to wash that thing down with. And here in Knicks Deli, we do that with the quarter water, okay? So we're going to look at who was the quarter water of the game. Who was the player that came in and in certain spots in a quarter or a little bit throughout each of the quarters really made their impact on the game. And then we're going to wrap that menu up. Those are the 4 items. We're going to wrap it up by looking at the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. And that's when there has to be something crazy connected to this game, happening either before the game or after the game, that really made you look at the screen sideways and say, nah, son, nah, you wildin'. All right. And then we're going to look at hot off the grill. And that's the segment of the Sheer Brilliance Knicks Deli edition, where we look at Reddit and we see what other Knicks Nation people are talking about our Knicks. We're only going to do that for a couple of slides, look through what they're talking about, and then we're going to bounce back, and then we're going to get into the questions. But stay tuned, because after I go through certain segments, I'm going to jump to the chat and see what y'all talking. Because today, we all need to be talking our talk. All right? So that's a quick synopsis of what Knicks Deli is. All right? So we want to look at first, who is the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich? Okay? And to me, the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich is, of course, our boy, Immanuel mother flipping Quickley. All right? Shout out, round of applause for Immanuel Quickley. 38 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. Listen, the most beautifulest thing in this world is Immanuel mother flipping Quickley. And the way he is helping the New York Knicks. Right now, we are in this period where we are reintroducing ourselves to the NBA world. Up until this point, we just been asking for respect. We just been asking for you not to make mockery of our team, of our fans. There is no other fan base that the media makes direct mockery of, direct challenge to, of a fan base than the New York Knicks fan base. And they do it because it's fun. They know that we engage. They know that we're the most passionate fan base in the world. And somehow they continue to get permission to do that. Take direct shots at the fan base, take direct shots at the team, to the point that other fans of other fan base are locked in on creating content to carry on that legacy, which is why it was important for the New York Knicks fans to take back that narrative. So what we're doing now is we're introducing ourselves to the NBA world. We already know what we got. The NBA world is learning about it for the first time, and that's the beauty of watching it. So this whole strike that we had against ESPN, watching them and contributing to their content, Fox Sports, any of the media outlets, we're going to end that strike temporarily because it's time for them to eat crow. It's time. That time has arrived. They have to chew glass, drink alcohol behind it, and talk about our New York Knicks. They have to. This team has forced them to do it. So enjoy. Enjoy. Kick your feet up. Hit that television remote or lock it up on your computer and watch ESPN squirm. Immanuel Quickley announced himself last night. From the very tip-off, this man went out there he knew he had a job to do. And I'm telling you this with full transparency and full honesty. I had predicted that we were going to win this game. I didn't know by how much, but just with the level of confidence and the style of play that we had, I was just like, yo, listen, people are talking about we can't beat Boston again. We match up too well. And our matchup and our style of play and the talent on our team and our consistency, that's not a fluke. It is not a fluke. It is the real thing. Let the people outside of Knicks Nation be in denial. But Knicks fans, I'm telling you this, believe your eyes are not lying to you. Believe what it is you see. This is real. This is a real thing. This team believes, I believe that this team believes they have what they need to win a championship. I believe they truly believe that. That is the unstated goal, but they're playing with that level of swagger, and you saw it last night. When Jalen Brunson was a last-minute scratch, I was just like, damn. But you know what? There's no excuses, because last game, Jaylen Brown was a scratch, and we took that victory. So when IQ came in, I was just like, I've seen what IQ can do. We've all seen what IQ can do at his best at point guard. We all have seen the growth. We all have seen how he has cleaned up his game, how he has minimized turnovers, how he has diversified his ability. He's diversified his game so he could drive to the basket. He could go for his floater. He's just not a three-point shooter and taking floater anymore. He gets to the basket because he's put on weight. He has prepared himself, and he has stayed at the knee of Tom Thibodeau, to the point that Tom Thibodeau had at the press conference, he said, you know, that's my guy. I love that. I love it. They even got the coach breaking character. I told you last game, Julius said, we love each other. You see it with this team. It's genuine from the very last person on the bench to all the starters. It's a genuine thing. It used to be we would be concerned about Julius getting upset or jealous because somebody else was shining. Well, with this team, there's very little of that, if any. Immanuel Quickley understood the assignment last night. He knows that the point guard, the formula for winning is that some pressure has to come from the point guard position, and he applied that pressure all game. All game. And what I loved about it was he was dancing on them Celtics all game. He was dancing on he was 30ing on the parquet floors of the TD Center. That man was like, He was hopping and skipping directly in front of the bench. You can't do nothing about it. You want to stop him from celebrating and gyrating, then stop him on the floor. If you can't stop him, enjoy the show. And it was the Immanuel Quickley show last night. It also speaks to our depth. It also speaks to our depth because we heard you, ESPN. We heard the pregame. And I don't care how you want to dress it up, how pretty you want to make it and dress it up. We still see through all of that, and we know you don't like us. We know you don't say it in your words, but your body language and the little ha 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 ha. And then you leave it to a Mike Wilbon, who is a respected journalist in the game. But also, since he's so respected, let me point, it's not now. I'm going to get to that later. But he also is a Chicago Bulls fan. He's from the Midwest. Jalen Rose, Midwest. None of them want to see us rise, but it don't matter anymore. 3-point shots, clutch, back-breaking 3-point shots. Getting to the basket, playing defense, his hyper-awareness to be able to steal the ball from their guard while they was doing the lazy inbound. He was locked in last night. As he's been all season, he has his goal now is to secure that 6th Man of the Year award. They all have goals. And they have the ability and the capability to snatch those goals this season. So recalibrate whatever your thinking is for this team. Recalibrate it and set new eyes and expectations on this team. Because we're showing up and we're showing out. And that was a beautiful example of it, of our depth, of our ability to say it is not a person that dictates whether or not we win. It's what we do. It's an expectation. We don't care what the other jersey looks like. This is what we do. One man goes down, next man up. 38 points. Take these buckets. 7 assists. Take these buckets. Take these assists. 8 rebounds. Give me that. From the point guard position. Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley. IQ is God's son, especially today here at Knicks Deli. You were the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese, my brother. Now, next up, who is the egg on the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich? And that could be no other than mother flipping Julius Randle. Listen, New York Knicks fans, what more can I say? What more can we say? What more can we expect from this man? He is he is an example to what it is we can do with our lives. Go through adversity. Be in the darkest of dark places. Be in the lowest of low places. Do some introspection and some reflection. Change your habits. Get in better shape. Be mindful of your mindfulness. And be open to accept constructive criticism. And you could bounce back and be an all-star. You could bounce back and be at the top of your game in the league very quickly. A lot of the GOAT style players are getting old. Who's next? Who's stepping up in those spots? Who's the next Kawhi Leonard? Who is the next KD? Who is the next Kyrie? Who is next? And I'm here to tell you right now, the New York Knicks at minimum have 2 pieces that are going to be next as part of the faces of the NBA. Kobe Bryant would be proud of this young man. Proud of him. He was his mentor. He would be proud of how Julius Randle is bullying the league. In the Miami Heat game at the foul line, one of the greatest shows of respect is when Jimmy Butler is standing there about to take his free throws and Randle is at the free throw line talking to the referee, but he is locked in on Randle's face, waiting for him to catch eyes and get his attention. And when he does, he just stares at him like, bro, what are you doing to us? What's gotten into you? And Randle, once he looks, he laughs and he shakes his head. And the one thing I could see, I imagine in my head, because you can't see his face, the one thing I imagine him saying to him was, I'm a bad mother flipper. It's bad for the league right now. It's bad. Julius Randle is almost at the point where he's mastered all of his moves, with the exception of that goddamn spin move. But that's the last piece. He's almost at the point where he is mastered. He damn sure has mastered that fadeaway, because there was some damn good defense played in the Miami Heat game and the Boston Celtics game. He was putting up impossible shots. That fadeaway jump shot, golden. His mid-range, golden. He's always been good around the basket. His and ones, his power to the point where he drives, he takes that shot and he gets fouled and he finishes the shot. He's almost at mastery level. He's at the doorstep of superstardom in this league. Depending on how this season ends will determine whether or not we go into next season and Julius Randle is considered a superstar. But last night he did what he always did. He showed up. He's always available. He is always reliable for 20 and 10. Last night, he gave us 31 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. But you know he's tired right now. He even made a joke about it, and it speaks even more so to what it is we're doing as a team. At the end of the game, they asked him about load management, and he was just like, he said, that sounds like a pretty good deal right about now. Because no matter how many overtimes he still played. And this is why I was talking to Knicks fans, and y'all was complaining about all these minutes. Oh, Tom Thibodeau. Let Tom Thibodeau cook. Because what the league is not doing right now is They're acting like these players are porcelain. And if nothing else, that is what's getting them injured. Tom Thibodeau has brought some of the same principles, sprinkled in with what he's gained over the years in learning at the feet of other coaches. Same principles of what made us successful in the 90s. All Knicks fans asked about is we want to play defense like the 90s. We always speak glowingly of the 90s, as we should, because that brand of basketball represents the New York fans, the city. So how are you going to ask for that type of brand of basketball and be mad when these players are getting worked hard and they're willing to work hard? If they're not playing those minutes on the floor, they're gym rats. So that mileage is going to be on their knees anyway. So stop trying to be coach and let the coach cook. The fact that they play as many minutes served them well in this double overtime because they were used to it. How fresh did Immanuel Quickley look last night? Everybody else is gasping and jogging down the court, and that man was bouncing. Julius Randle still hitting shots. So listen, 31 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, still continuing to make them eat crow in the media. Still continuing to terrorize. Now it's to the point that when we go to a game, we look at who he's facing in his matchup and we expect him to have the upper hand. He expects himself to have the upper hand. He made that shot from the corner last night in Boston, falling out of bounds, and then he looked at and he just shook his head. All he could do was shake his head, like you have no idea what's happening right now. He's in a zone, and he's been that way for the entirety of the season, in a zone. So the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese today is Julius mother-flipping Randle. Shout out to Julius. Next up, who is the cheese? Of course, the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese today is RJ mother-flipping Barrett. Now, collectively, I know we're happy for RJ. When this game started, you knew RJ was going to be on some stuff this game, all right? We talked about it. RJ hears the talk. He talks about not being on social media, but you know that they're hyper aware of what the conversation is. You don't have to tell RJ. RJ is that type of player. You don't have to tell him. He knows where he is. He knows what his game looks like in comparison to his teammates. He knows. But what we saw last night early on was the team sending a message. Y'all think it's sweet because we don't have Jalen Brunson in the lineup. Y'all think this is going to be an easy night. RJ Barrett set the tone for all of us last night, in addition to Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley set the tone with that first three-pointer. Bam, I'm letting you know it's good. We're going to give you this work today. Crazy work. You're going to get this crazy work today. And then RJ right away, I'm just going to shove this down your throat. Pause for the whole show. Okay, I'm not going to be keeping pausing the whole show, but pause for the whole show. RJ Barrett from the very start. And what I love, the beautiful part about RJ's game that not many other people bring, I think Josh Hart is similar, but RJ will hit you with that Euro step. RJ has the herky-jerky, early James Harden style of game. That's his bag. He brought it out last night, whether it's driving to the basket, getting the and one, hitting his jumpers to a tune of 29 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. If this RJ shows up, the league already knows it's a fucking wrap. They know it's a flipping wrap. The worst nightmare for the NBA has come true. And there's a little picture of a moccasin, style Timberland that was on the back of a truck. The New York Knicks sent that to Adam Silver. We want to let them know we ain't going nowhere. Here's a little souvenir that you need to start putting the Knicks in advertising. Start putting their faces in terms of your face of your league and your playoff run. Yeah, we want to see those commercials. We want that orange and blue thing to be spinning. In fact, change our logo every now and again to a Timberland. We want to see the Timberland all over the advertisements. RJ Barrett did what a lot of fans believe he could do, but basically he was telling us, yo, don't count me out. And New York Knicks fans, we've been doing that. We've been talking, we've been giving, and deservedly so. If there's nothing else about our fan base that could be said, we hold you accountable and we give props when we need to. And this is why I'm proud. I'm proud of a lot of you cats on Twitter. I'm proud of a lot of you cats on Twitter because you don't hesitate to talk about when you see production and you see proof in the pudding that you still got what it is that we need for this team to be successful. You apologize. And that makes me proud as a Knicks fan because I'm the same way. If you're wrong and you're proven wrong and you're willing to admit it, that's when you are a real fan of the fan base. And many of you on Twitter, giving RJ his props. He is a young man. And I know that our whole team is, so there's no excuse. It's a young man's game. But the beauty of what is happening right now is that the team is good. So when the team is good, it affords some grace for any player who is not clicking on top of their game at the moment. And that's RJ. Because the team is good, he's able to work through whatever those challenges are. And what we do know to be true about RJ is that he does. He doesn't get flustered. If he's going through a struggle point, his confidence is still there. He'll take the next shot. And that's what we need. When you don't have that in a player, you have Ben Simmons. So lay off RJ because we could easily have Ben Simmons instead of RJ. Someone who succumbs to the pressure where they don't want to take a shot. Where they're a starter in your lineup and you know the only thing they're going to do is pass. I could get out there and do that. Any of us could get out there and do that. So keep that in mind the next time you throw shots at RJ. RJ eats those shots, bro, and he does this, putting up 29 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists in a critical playoff level game. I'm laughing at media who's talking about, oh, yes, they're impressive, but their schedule gets a little bit more difficult. Well, prior to this stretch, what's more difficult than having a game in Miami and 2 in Boston? Wasn't that supposed to be difficult for us? Tell me what teams does it start getting difficult? Tell me that. That was supposed to be the challenge. And this is what's going to happen, Knicks fans, so get accustomed to it. Don't get frustrated by it. They're going to continuously move the goalposts until we start beating people with the goalposts. It's going to be, oh yeah, well that's nice, but they're solid, but what about this? And then when we meet those challenges, it's going to be like, oh, okay, that's impressive, but let's wait until this time comes. We'll wait until the playoffs. Well, you didn't expect us to make the play-in. What are you talking about? You still got to wait and see. You didn't expect us to make the play-in. So now that we blow that out of the way as a possibility and we're looking directly at the playoffs, now you want to go back and kind of dig up the dirt, but that's to be expected. That's how expectations work. But RJ showed up last night and he showed you that he could play within the flow of a game, that he could be impactful and he could put pressure on the opposing defense while not taking away from the flow of the offense and what our game plan is. I was proud of him last night. I was proud of his patience. I was proud of his persistence. I was just proud of the fact that he looked like a formidable player in this league last night. So RJ Barrett, you, my guy, are the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich here at Knicks Deli today. Shout out to you. All right? So before I go any further, let me do this. Let me check out the chat. What y'all talking? Welcome, everybody. Once again, if you're here for the first time, I want to welcome you to the Sheer Brilliance Knicks channel. This is the Knicks Daily segment, and we do Knicks Daily every time we're celebrating a victory. And oh my God, we should all be smoking cigars and watching ESPN and watching the media squirm, try to think of different ways to celebrate us when we've been telling them all along this is what it is. All right? But let me hop into the chat and say, what up, chat? We're going to start first with my guy, Mike Lilly. What's up, Mike? He says IQ stepped out and he stepped up and he stepped on the Celtics last night. Let's go with Tim's on. That's what he did. He did it with Tim's on. Now everybody knows. Once again, agreed. Now everybody knows. All right. Next up, we got big task at hand. My guy, salute to you. He says, sheer brilliance. What's going on? Everything is everything, my guy. Everything is everything today. Big task at hand says, yeah. I apologize if the microphone is popping. I'm trying to stay away, man. But yeah, we talking our talk today. All day. That's what we doing. Big task at hand also says, quickly looked at the Celtics and said, I see dead people. That's right. That's what happens when the sixth sense kicks in. That's right. He looked at the, y'all, I'm going to pin that. I'm going to put it on Twitter. He said, I see dead people. Good one, big task at hand. Big task at hand also says, my nah you wildin' moment of the day was Julius Randle taking that last shot instead of letting Quickley bake them. Once again, bro, if he would have made it, listen, he showed proof that he could make it. So we don't want to overthink it. If that was the rhythm of the game, then we're going to have to live with that. Because if we can live with the other side, we can live with that. All right. But once again, that's what these last games are for. These last 16 games, there's going to be those moments. This is exactly where we want to be ending the season. We want to be playing our best basketball, as Tom Thibodeau always says. We want to be playing our best basketball ending the season. And that's going to involve all of them figuring out who needs to be where, taking shots, seeing who's ready to make those shots. That's where the trust is established. Julius said early on in this season, when we got Brunson, it was a Freudian slip, but he said it. He said, man, it feels good to know that I have somebody else who I can rely on to carry this load. And then he quickly corrected it and was like, yo, listen, I know my whole team is, but he meant that about Brunson. Somebody who can hit big shots at more of a frequent rate than he does. There has to be some pressure released off of that, having that person next to him. So they got to go through these moments where, all right, he took that shot, but then IQ comes back and he hits big time shots in the overtime. That shows Julius like, yo, listen, spread that thing around. That's what's going to make this team. That's already what's making this team a difficult matchup. That's already the thing that's intimidating other teams. That's already the thing that's making a Bill Simmons, legendary writer out of the Boston area, go on his talk show and says, I'm scared of the New York Knicks. Not only do we not match up, but they have talent all over the place. I love that. And their coach in his post-game conference, if you don't do it, you have to start doing it. Go to YouTube after the game. Don't just watch the Knicks post-game pressers. Watch the opposing team's post-game pressers. That's more important because we see how they saw us. They're going to go through a period of time and talking about what they didn't do, but then they're going to be forced to talk about what the opponent did to get them out of their game. And Joe Mazzulla, their coach, said it was just two great teams going at it. Oh, we a great team now. That's what we doing? Oh, we a great team now. Yeah, you know we are. Because a lot of what you do that works on other teams ain't working on us. Not only are we offensive, but we counter punches as well. And we Floyd Mayweather with the defense. Oh, we Floyd Mayweather with the defense. Come on now. Come on now. Respect will be paid. Come on now. So shout out Shout out to Immanuel Quickley taking those shots. Julius being willing to take those shots. They're going to be more successful than not. And when they miss, listen, y'all remember that playoff series when Kobe came in and he hit 3 straight air balls. I know everybody on that team was just like, you should have just dumped it in the shack. But we see what happened. We see how that turned out. Who Kobe became. Julius's story is unfinished. He's worked on so much of his game to clean it up from the first season that he's been here. We see how much progress he's made in 3 years. And he's at the doorstep of his prime. Bro, in 2 years, he's going to be an unstoppable machine. So let's let him work through these things. I think we have something on our hands. So next up is Pudge Nice. Pudge Nice, what's good? He says, salute to you too, sir. Salute. Let's go. Pudge Nice also says the Knicks are ranked number 6 in championship odds. Let's talk about it. Our style of play is not played in this league right now. It's not played in this league right now. The team that makes the run and that mows through teams or just barely wins or whatever, they establish the new style of play in this league. Knicks fans, this is what I've been saying. If you've been a part of my channel, you already know it. I take Tibbs tablets. I'm a Tibbs fan. They once called us antiquated. Why would we get a coach from the 90s? He's stuck in the 90s. He can't coach young players. His style of offense is antiquated. It doesn't work. His defense, he plays a drop style defense. A player said, we haven't seen that play since college. And now that we're winning, second 8-game win streak in a season, up to 9 games right now. If we take this thing to a championship level, watch how many people change up their style of play to mimic the Knicks. Watch how many people start getting veteran coaches in there. Or watch how many some of these young or older coaches start implementing some of the principles of offense that Tom Thibodeau was using. Things can change on a dime. Andy Reid was once known as that coach who couldn't win a Super Bowl. And now he's known as a Super Bowl coach. All you need is one player to turn your whole fortunes around. And I love now the media is saying, oh, so they're playing to that point that a star may come. Who's to say we don't already have the star? Shout out to Law Cunningham. My guy, I don't know if you in here or whatever have you. If you see this, shout out to you. Because you've been saying it for months. Yo, shit, man, I think we got the stars that we need on our team. Everybody keep looking and window shopping everywhere else, talking about who comes in and fits. Why are we looking at Giannis if I know we got Julius right now, but depending on where we are next year, you don't know who's going to be healthy or who's not. If you bring in Giannis, where you putting Julius? You putting him at the 3? Or you going to play a smaller ball 5? And that's another narrative that we're going to change. The New York Knicks single-handedly are taking away the small ball center option. We are bullying people at the 5, bullying them on the offensive and defensive boards. We're bullying them. Your New York Knicks are changing the game right now. We are changing the game. Part of my other monikers is I'm Stradamus because I made videos on this. Check my receipts. Check my paperwork. Go on my YouTube. I talked about how we're changing the game. Having those 3 centers, having iHeart, having Mitch, having Sims. You ain't getting no rebounds and we could play them together. We are changing the game as well as the narrative. So shout out to you, Pudge Nice, talking about those championship odds. I believe it. We need to start talking how we're talking. Talk our talk. We could talk championship. We just beat a championship contender 3 games. All right. I know we got work to do because Milwaukee's in another bracket. But at least we could talk the talk. Next up, we got New Yorican. Let's go, 7126. He says, what up, great victory. Yes, I really hope y'all been consuming YouTube and ESPN and just looking, tag up the Knicks. Look for what they're saying about us. New Yorican also says, all that flopping Marcus did couldn't save them. Yeah, it's a different type of animal they're facing. If nothing else, they're probably seeing themselves in us from 2 or 3 years ago when Jalen Brunson, when Kyrie just left them, and Jaylen Brown didn't know who he was at that time. And Jason Tatum had just scratched the surface and was just like, yeah, I think I'm him. We're kind of in the same spot. We're almost the Boston Celtics from a few years back. So we got to keep that in mind, but that's a great point. Yeah, my guy, Law, let's go. Hearing Big Perk shred up and rotisserie Stephen A was one of my most happiest moments this year. Bro, let's talk about how Big Perk held him accountable today. He sat there with, I don't care what you say, all of this bloviating that you're doing, all of this animation that you do for the cameras. Big Perk basically said, the fans don't even love you. Fans didn't even welcome you back. And he kind of slipped it in there, but Stephen A was about to say, I don't give a damn what they say. Well, that's right, because you already know we don't rock with you. I know you know what we're saying. I know you got family. I know your family's on the internet. I know you too smart. You done got to where you are for a reason. You know what we're saying because you know what you've been doing. And of all people, a Boston Celtic is putting you on blast. Big Perk trying to get a jersey out of us. But yeah, that was a joy to see. I'm gonna read one more comment, then I'm gonna hop back in. We can talk about who was the dollar slice of the game. Knicks Cave, Jan Mitchell. What's up, my guy? Shout out to you. Jan Mitchell is in here. He says, what's good, brother? Great win last night. Yeah, we talking our talk today. We're talking our talk today, and the rest, listen, it's a beautiful season. Knicks fans, you deserve this. Knicks players, you deserve this. I love it for the announcers. I love it for the owner. I love it for the front office. I love it for the city. We deserve it. The timing something's going on. There is something going on in the basketball universe. The basketball gods have finally decided to bestow blessings upon us. Because Brooklyn has talent right now, but they don't have that talent like they did. The things are lining up for us. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Learn how to enjoy it. That's all I ask. Just learn how to enjoy it. So let's talk about who is the dollar slice of the game. So next up, who is the dollar slice? The dollar slice will go to, boom, Mitchell mother flipping Robinson. Round of applause for Mitchell Robinson. Big Mitch. Money making Mitch. Once again, our center and our center core is redefining the center position for the NBA. The word is already out on the New York Knicks that they're one of the top offensive and defensive rebounding teams in the league. Sorry about that. That they're one of the top rebounding teams in the league. That they got monsters in the middle. Mitchell Robinson presence defensively. Last night was key. But let's talk about his stats. He had 13 points. He had 14 rebounds. I believe 7 of those rebounds were offensive rebounds. But something that really speaks to his value was the last shot in overtime, where he could move very easily between guarding the drive that was there potentially in the paint and then getting out to the three-point line just enough time to block the vision and alter the vision for the three-point shooter to make that shot at the end of the game. I don't know if people are focusing on that. He is becoming cerebral. He is studying his position. He's studying the game. You could see the IQ difference from when he was a rookie and he was raw to where he is now. And his seriousness. And then you have the same coming off of the bench with Ihart, who has his physical limitations. He's not as athletic as a Mitch or Jericho, but he brings his own style of play to the game. That's different. It's hard to game plan. The Terror Squad, our second unit, is equally as important to the success of our team as the starters. But you got to set the tone. And Mitchell Robinson being available, toughing through these injuries this season, stepping his game up, has been a catalyst in setting the tone for our team. It's a beautiful thing to watch. It's comforting. RJ Barrett couldn't have the success that he had if Mitchell Robinson wasn't back there wiping away mistakes. If Isaiah Hartenstein isn't back there clearing out mistakes. And if either are out or injured, or out, fouled out, we could bring Jericho Sims in there, who is quickly learning himself. So shout out to Mitchell Robinson. He is the dollar slice of the game. That thing that was a stabilizing force that helped us secure this victory. So round of applause for that man. Next up, and lastly, in terms of the menu, or not lastly, we got two more. Who's the chopped cheese of the game? That thing that was relatively new, but man, it's busting. And that is going to be our boy, Mr. Undefeated, Josh mother flipping Hart. Round of applause for Josh Hart. Listen, what more can you say? He is going to go down as a critical moment in New York Knicks history when we signed him. He is the type of player that redirects the trajectory of your franchise. Inserting him into this lineup, inserting him into this locker room has completely propelled us into the championship contender discussion. It's as simple as that. That's not me being delusional. That's me being factual. His impact is undeniable. Last night against the Celtics, 10 points, 8 rebounds coming off of the bench, and 2 assists. I can tell you this much. The Celtics know the differences in who we are as a team every time they play us. I think I heard interviewed, it could have been Jason Tatum, who talked about the previous time that we played the Knicks. They didn't have, they didn't have Josh Hart. I think it was like one of the first time. They was talking about the differences in the team each time they played them this season, and that there was something that was a slight difference. Either we didn't have somebody, or we didn't have Mitch, or something. But we ended up finding ways to win. And that speaks to your team. And I'm telling you, this is why I love Tom Thibodeau. All right. And this is why everybody was calling me crazy, saying, I don't know what's your fascination with Tom Thibodeau. You stuck in the 90s, whatever have you. Yes, I am. Because I remember when Tom Thibodeau went to Chicago, his first coaching gig. And at that time, we didn't have a great team. We had a decent team in New York. Decent enough team to beat the Bulls, I thought. But that's when they had a young Taj Gibson. And they had a young and unknown Joakim Noah. And then they had this superstar kid, Derrick Rose. Actually, it may have been before Derrick Rose, because I think they had Heinrich. And they would play the New York Knicks, who had quote-unquote stars. Carmelo was with us. And they would play us to the end of the game, and then they would make a play or two and win. Taj Gibson would scramble on the floor and get a rebound. They would win all the 50-50 plays, and we'd be here in the press conference asking ourselves, how did we lose that game? And every time we faced the Chicago Bulls that season, I always dreaded it, because I'm like, how are we losing to these no-names? Well, we got more talent than that Chicago Bull team had. but we're playing the same style. There are more teams who face us than not who are catching losses, and they are befuddled as to how they lost the game. We're going on paper, we're not supposed to lose to the Knicks. Like that young man on the net said, it was just like, well, all in my career, I've never lost to the Knicks. Well, how that apple taste? How does that apple taste, young man? It's not fun now, huh? Shout out to Uncle Denzel. They're wondering how we are winning these games. They're saying, oh, you know what? In the playoffs, well, we're playing playoff level basketball. And we're showing you with your own eyes that we're ready for that style of play. Because we're having that level of intensity at the games. And they are playing pressure free. It's like we're playing with house money. The New York Knicks looked so relaxed in Boston Garden last night. Super relaxed. And Josh Hart helps bring that confidence to us. We got enough. Listen, we go to our bench, there ain't no drop off. We piling on. Terror Squad is terrorizing the league. We're not asking for respect no more. We taking it. We taking it. Shout out to Josh Hart. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Never lost. Never lost. Shout out to our chopped cheese of the game, Josh Hart. Now, last item on the menu. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the chopped cheese unless you got something to wash that thing down with. There's only one item I have on my menu here at Knicks Deli to wash that thing down with, and that is the quarter water. Damn, I wish I had my thunder. Quarter water. Okay? Who is the quarter water of the game? And the quarter water of the game will go to our guy. I'm going to give it to Obi Mother Flippin' Toppin. Let's go. Round of applause for Obi Mother Flippin' Toppin. Yeah. It's been a while since Obi's visited and stopped by Knicks Deli. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Okay? It's been exactly, well, last night it was 11 minutes. Okay? Obi Toppin, 6 points. He had an assist and he had a rebound. But what I loved about it was when Obi was on the floor, Obi popped. And what I mean by that is when a player pops, he clearly pops off the screen. So whether it's a move or a basket or a point, he caught a lob. You know, his instincts in the game while he's running is a different dimension that presents a problem to the opposing defense. Unexpected. The personality and the contribution talent-wise is different from the terror squad than it is from our starting unit. So it presents another set of challenges that they have to deal with. His ability around the basket, you know, in terms of finishing, is there. His athleticism. I loved seeing him in the game because it just showed a national audience the depth of the New York Knicks, exactly what Knicks fans have been talking about, but y'all been laughing at us about it. And we're going to enjoy this thing. 9 of them things, and it will be 10 in Charlotte. But the quarter water goes to Obi Mother Flippin' Toppin. I was happy to see it. Happy to see it. All right. Let's go back to the chat. Yo, what's the chat vibes? Do me a favor. Stop right now. If you're in here, run up that thumbs up. Hit me with the thumbs up, man. Let's get this algorithm going. The more you hit the thumbs up, the more eyes get on these videos. Let me just jump to the comment section and see what y'all talking about. All right, let's see. We got Jan Mitchell once again. He says, a great win and a great Monday. 50. Yes. 11-5 would have to be the record that we go if we get 50 wins. Right after the All-Star break, I posted it. I said, Julius, we proud of you. Now let's get this 50. Let's get this 50. Why not? Why not? And why not us? Why not? And why not us? I want to be the darlings of the NBA. I like pig feet. Why not us? So let's get this 50. Big task at hand also says 8 rebounds. Talk to them, Hart. That's right. That's right. Hart Foundation comes in and they control the boards. And that's from the guard position. What are you talking about? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I love it in the chat, man. Listen, we are on it. We are on it right now. And it's a beautiful thing to see and be a part of. So enjoy your squad. So next up is the Nah Son Nah, you wildin' moment of the game. All right. So the Nah Son Nah, you wildin' moment of the game, if you don't know, is when we look at something that's part of the game that makes you look at the game, makes you look at the screen sideways and go, nah, son, nah. Yo, y'all are wildin', okay? So the Nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment goes to the whole crew on the ESPN pregame. The 2 hosts, Malika Andrews and the other pretty young lady, I don't know her name, I know she has a Nigerian style name. I apologize because I don't have the name in front of me. And then Mike Wilbon. So y'all know exactly what I'm talking about because y'all know what happened. When we had the pregame, everybody's watching it. They're talking about the Knicks. The 2 young ladies were talking about the Knicks, but it was almost like tongue in cheek. They were their words were spitting facts, but their body language and the little, they were feeding off of Mike Wilbon's energy, right? Feeding off of his energy. It was just like, so the Knicks, could they pull this win out? Could they go for 9 straight? And they were talking about all the statistics and all the facts. They had the stats and the facts correct. But when they ended that segment, right? They ended that segment and they asked Mike Wilbon, they said, so Mike, with all that being said, and when all is determined, do you think the New York Knicks will get a victory tonight? And Mike took a dramatic pause. He looked at the screen and he said, no. F you, Mike Wilbon. Eat that. Eat that with hot sauce. Eat that with hot sauce. Eat that with the Knicks sauce on it. Eat that. Feels good. All of them the next day had to look and they had to eat their words. And they had to talk about the Knicks as if, oh yeah, they're excellent. Yes, we are. We're elite. We're elite. All 3 of y'all. I ain't gonna say it no more. I ain't gonna say no more. When you say my name, put some respect on it. Put some respect on it. All 3 of y'all. 3. Wilbon, Malika Andrews, all 3 of y'all. Put some respect on my name. So the Nah Son Nah, you wildin'. Moment of the day goes to Malika Andrews, her co-host, and Michael Wilbon. Eat that. Quick social media shout out break. Listen, if you want to follow me, go to my Twitter. I'm at SB Knicks. Follow me there. Here on YouTube, same handle at SB Knicks. This is the sheer brilliance Knicks. If you want to support in any other way, I got the Cash App with the $ on sheer and brilliance thereafter. All right. Love the support. We building this thing out. If you go to my YouTube channel real quick, I took a little snapshot of my setup here. If you also are thinking about creating a channel, go for it. It's 2023. Sometimes we work so hard, we stress ourselves out that we could just get locked in on what we do on a day-to-day, whether it's taking care of our families, bringing in $1, working our main job. Sometimes you need to do something that you absolutely love. And I love these Knicks. So if you love these Knicks as well and you was thinking about a channel, why not? Go for it. Some equipment, yeah. Some investment into it, yeah. Some time, yeah. But take an opportunity to look at your life and make sure you're doing something you love. I love this. So you can see that little snapshot of my setup. Ain't much, a couple of pieces of equipment, but we do it. We get the thing done. So shout out to you all. The last part of the segment I'm going to look at, we're going to talk about hot off the grill, okay? It's called Hot Off the Grill. And this is the segment where we look at Reddit. And it says, I read it at Knicks Deli. So I'm going to take a look for a few moments at what Knicks Nation is talking about on Reddit. So give me a moment so I can share my screen and we could do the damn thing. Do me a favor, throw your ones in the chat. If you still here, you rocking with your Knicks. Let me do this up. Bong, bong, bam. Yeah, and I got something for y'all. So, look, the first thing I see on Knicks Reddit, bing bong, CBS Sports has the Knicks ranked number 1 this week in their power rankings. Come on now. Act like y'all see us. Act like y'all see us. Yeah, we're going to read it here. Bing bong. The Knicks are officially the hottest team in the NBA, beating the Nets, the Heat, and the Celtics twice this week to run their win streak to 9 games. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson each averaged more than 27 points for the week, but the spotlight has momentarily shifted towards Immanuel Quickley, who carried the Knicks to a double overtime win over Boston on Sunday with a career-high 38 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Let's talk about it. Put some respect on our name. That's all. Respect it. So I love to see that. What else we got here? Reading it on Knicks Deli. Yeah, they call you smart, but you lack IQ. Let's get it. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? They call you smart, but you lack IQ. And they got Marcus Smart in the background and my man IQ throwing them dubs up. Them dubs, that's what he's doing. Those are separated right now, but he put them together at the end of the game to throw them dubs up for another dub. Yo, he was dancing all over Boston Garden. All over. Yo, we got the annual shout out to our old coach, Mike Miller. And he got extra fingers. He got 9 of them things up there. 9 mother flipping wins in a row. Let's go. If y'all guys don't visit Knicks Deli Reddit, you have to. It'd be some funny stuff. This is where I get a lot of the animations that's on my YouTube channel. Here, see, this is a great point too, where it says we started from the bottom. Yeah, man, y'all remember this? Where we have Porzingis, Lance Thomas, Enes Kanter, Courtney Lee, and Jarrett Jack, and they had Kyrie Irving, Marcus Smart, Aaron Baines, Al Horford, and Jason Tatum. I'm sorry, man. What else we got? Oh, yeah, you know Knicks fans going to have the receipts. Immanuel Quickley with a Herculean performance, checking out with 38 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and a +8 in 55 minutes. So CBS, the same channel, the same article author who just told us that we're number 1 in their rankings, this is the grade that they gave to Immanuel Quickley during his draft. They were talking about the Knicks like a dog. And they said the 25th overall pick, they gave this man a D+. He remembers. We're going to do a few more. Hey, shout out to Josh Hart. Didn't know it was his birthday today, but yo, throw your thumbs up in the chat. Give Josh Hart a shout out. Let's do 2 more. Yeah, classic. So this is what they was talking about in the chat. The Knicks fans don't want you back. Yo, Perk stood Stephen A up this morning. He told him, sit up when I'm talking to you. He didn't say that, but this is basically him telling him, he was just like, oh, you acted like you were with the Knicks from the very beginning. He said, you started this season talking about how disappointed you were, how the New York Knicks organization was terrorizing the media. and how you ain't gonna visit the Knicks. You ain't gonna watch a game. You boycotting games from the Knicks. And look at Stephen A. Smith. That's the look he had when Perk gave him that fire. He basically got perked up. So shout out to Perk. And then lastly, we're gonna look at this, and it says Mitch takes it to the rack. And this was also a beautiful place. I'm glad they have this on here. Let me see if I could line this thing up.
The only person I've ever seen really time it is Drew Holiday, and that's because he knows it's coming.
Well, at the end of the day, it's still a hard move to stop, even when you know it's coming.
What you want with it? What you
The
look
only
at? Look
person
how
I've ever seen really time it is
look
Drew
at the
Holiday,
end of the
and that's
play.
because
How
he knows it's
frustrated
Well,
Tatum
look,
is
at
right
the
over
end of the
here.
day, it's still a hard move to stop, even when you know it's coming.
Dunk. Bomb.
The only person I've
That's
ever
how
seen
you
really
take the
time
air
it is Drew Holiday, and that's
out
because he knows.
of the other team. That's how you take the wind out of their wings, the wind out of their sails. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So let me go back to the chat real quick before I give my parting thoughts. It's been a beautiful time, beautiful time. Beautiful win, great win. Top in the league right now. We at the top of the power rankings. They're starting to give us the respect. The media's starting to respect us. They have no choice. They have no choice. They gotta see us. All right. Let's go. We got George Thomas. He said, yo, mad respect, bro. Let's go, Knicks. What's up, George? Let's go. Let's go. I appreciate that. Big Task at Hand says, I turned them off. I can't stand mainstream sports media. Big Task at Hand, I would just ask you to turn them on, bro. Turn them back on just for like a week or two. And just hear how they struggle to talk good about us. But they have to talk good. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's a beautiful thing to watch Max Kellerman have to fix his face and say that the Knicks are good now. They can't even give solid backhand compliments to us. They can't. It just has to be straightforward compliments. And I love it. You gotta love it. Shout out to them. Turn that thing on. George Thomas also says, they all be hating. We know. But yo, they gotta see us. New Rican also says, yeah, I get my fix from YouTube. Those ESPN people are haters. That's right, they are. And stay on YouTube, but tune in every now and again because they got to talk good about us. Media, Jerry Thurgood. What up, Jerry? Good to see you back, my brother. He says, media always hating on the Knicks. Always. But we need to love it now because we here. We here. It's one thing when they're hating on us and we just terrible, bro. But we here now. We are here now. So New Rican also throws his ones good. Throwing those ones in the chat. You love your Knicks. Yeah, all of that. Big Task at Hand also says, wow, bro. I mean, Mitch Robinson is on another level this season. New Rican also says, didn't they rate Quickley draft pick at a D? Yep. And we saw that on Knicks Reddit. George Thomas also says, do you think Immanuel get that bag from us? He could be a starter, real talk. I think 100%. I think it's going to depend on how the season turns out. I think they're not going to disrespect him. They're not going to disrespect him. And I think that can mean several things. It's going to be honest in terms of however he performs. The eyes are on us now. You already have a Tim Legler who was killing us for years, but he's on record by saying we're his favorite team to watch. Not like he's anybody special, but he's a respected analyst and he's a respected NBA player, former NBA player. But he says he can't tune away. It's go-to TV. He has this marked on his calendar every time the Knicks play. So the eyes are on us now. So whereas we've been able to protect a lot of this talent, it's so funny because you know the teams who passed on making trades with us, they were asking for that. All those people who aren't in tune with the players that are on our team and the talent that's on our team, they were wondering, they were calling us stupid because we wouldn't get rid of a Quickley and a Grimes. But now they're seeing with the All-Star game how Grimes is an automatic. I'm going to give you buckets in a game. They're seeing this play like Quickley and seeing this type of performance. Now they understand. And that's honestly speaking. And the same thing applies. They say, if you have a crazy idea in your head, right, and you share it with somebody and somebody says that's stupid, you feel dejected. You may not move on that idea, and you may hesitate to tell somebody else your idea in the future, right? But they also say if God gives you something, he gave it to you. He didn't give it to nobody else. So he's not expecting anybody else to understand what he gave to you. So follow it, all right? And the same thing applies with our front office if they make a decision to move forward on a move or not. Anybody from the outside, they can have their opinion. It's up to us not to really lock in on their opinion and have some type of confidence or faith that the front office has an idea of what they're doing. They've been in this business. They've been into meetings. They've been we haven't been privy to. They have an idea because the task was given to them, not to us. Those conversations were given to them, not to us. So it's a certain amount of relinquishing of the reins that we have to give to this front office to do the damn thing. And as we see where we are right now, it's proven fruitful. That they didn't budge when we tried to apply pressure, or when the media tried to apply pressure, or when the outside world tried to apply pressure on this front office by humiliating us on moves we did or didn't make. Clowning the Jalen Brunson move, and now look at you. So that's where, listen, if your attitude was one way yesterday, that's fine. That was yesterday. Get behind your team 100% because they got the wheel. We don't want to be the ones who ain't on the bus when we get to the destination. So let's eliminate that outside talk. George says, do you think Immanuel Quickley will get that bag from us once again? I think we will give him the bag depending on how this season turns out. If he gets a bigger bag elsewhere and he is open to it, I think the front office will honor that because they see him as, all of these young men, they see him as sons. So he got to do what's best for him and the family. If they try to blow us out of the water with whatever, they offer, this front office will look at their books. And either they'll let him have that opportunity if he chooses to take it, or he may give us a discount like Randall and like Brunson did, where you have an opportunity to get the max, but in order to keep this core, and especially if we end it in the conference finals or the finals, I think he'll negotiate and take something that's reasonable and good for him, but also will allow us to be able to build in the future. So I know that's a little bit of a political type of response, but that's my feeling on it. Big Task at Hand says Boston YouTube media is giving the Knicks a lot of props. They knew that would be a tough game. They want Boston to avoid the Knicks at all costs. Yes, Big Task at Hand, you with me. You also be with me scrolling the ops, keeping an eye and surveillance on the ops. But yeah, you're right. Boston is talking about us with a whole lot of respect. So understand this, man. Like, they know we're a problem. And if you look around the league, this is why I said on my YouTube channel previously, there is nobody I fear, with the exception of two teams. I fear Phoenix because they got KD. And I fear Giannis in Boston. In Milwaukee. They got championship pedigree. They've been there before. They know the formula to sustainable winning. They have cohesion. They've been together. And truth be told, we've modeled a lot of that. We've modeled building this team from Golden State and Milwaukee. There's value in keeping young pieces together, young talented pieces together. But they also understood and discovered it was a business this summer when their name popped up in a lot of trade talks. But they're so tight knit. It's you see the chemistry and it's showing on the floor. So Boston respects us. I agree. And Big Task at Hand also says, okay, I'll check out what they have to say. Yeah, man, 100%. Like it's always a beautiful thing. And the Miami Heat Cats, it was funny. It was so funny. I posted about their announcers talking trash about Knicks fans. And man, they was eating humble pie after that loss. They were eating the humble pie after that loss. All right. So that was, I read it at Knicks Deli. That's when we look at Reddit and we see what they're talking about. Here are my parting thoughts. I talked a little bit about ESPN, right? Even with that game in Miami and this game last night, if you notice, the game in Miami had an all Nets cast. Ryan Ruocco used to be a former reporter on for the Nets. And they had Vince Carter and they had Richard Jefferson, who were two of the semi-stars on the Nets when they had that run. Always got something slick to say. So it was great. And you have Malika Andrews and the other young lady talking they talk. So they were in the studio. We had these fools on the sideline. Although I will give credit to Richard Jefferson. He did not let that disdain come through in his play-by-play during the game. He did call it down the middle. I'll give it to him. It wasn't as bad listening to him this time. I think he's taking professional responsibility. But you have anti-ESPN, the game is on, and then you have, this announcing team who are former Nets. So once again, it's the system trying to do LOL Knicks. All they need is for the Knicks to comply. And the Knicks was like, F that. We're going to give this team buckets. We're going to get this playoff style game and we're going to leave with a victory. And we're going to dance as Julius did on the court in Miami, as the Knicks fans did when they showed out and they started having let's go Knicks chants in the first half, reverberating through the television screen. Took over Miami. Next stop, Boston, as they did with Quickley hit the three-pointer at the beginning of the game. Bully Barrett barreling down the lane, getting the and-ones, and Randall continuing to cook and continuing to eat the ops. Pause. All game. And Quickley dancing in front of the Boston bench, and they can't do nothing about it. So that's the beauty of it. When you have all of the things lined up against you and you still succeed. That's what I love. So that's what I want to say about that real quick. Hold on, let me pull this up because I got some other pictures. So we did the Nah Son Nah moment of the day. Yeah, my guy, Mike Wilbon. Let's talk about Mike Wilbon real quick. Y'all see the Bulls jersey? I know he's respected on ESPN, but when you see this guy on there with Stephen A, and they're talking about the Knicks, expect to see that Midwestern disgust of the New York market. It's dripping all over this guy. And you see where his allegiance lies because he has the Bull jersey on. So don't get fooled by that. And I want to go back real quick and talk a little bit about Ryan Ruocco, the announcer, once the Boston game ended last night. He said something that I think a lot of Knicks fans didn't understand because I saw it on Twitter and some people were bothered by it. He said, your father's Knicks. And I sat on that for a moment and I love the fact that he said that. So kudos to Ryan Ruocco, because when he said that statement, basically he was telling to the current audience, any new people to the game, he said, this is the style of team your father always talked to you about, played in the 1990s. That's what he was saying with, these are your father's Knicks. These Knicks play the style with grit. They play it with grind. They play it with tenacity and heart, and they don't fold. These are your father's Knicks. I thought that was powerful for him as an announcer, for him to say that as a wrap-up. I was like, damn, that was impressive. So if you go back and watch that game, or if you heard it and you didn't quite understand what he means, that's what he meant. These are the Knicks. The style of play you see is a nice blend of old school and new school. Perk said that as well. And it's facts. That's the value you get from your Tibbs. Looked at the market and he found our niche. He sees a style of play that's not being played today. The New York Knicks, if they continue with this run, when they continue with this run, they're going to bring back certain elements of old school basketball you don't see in today's game. But I love that statement when he said, your father's Knicks. That's exactly what was meant. I did. I forgot my little grill picture. ESPN, we did that. Yeah, so when he talks about your father's Knicks, he's talking about the Ewing, Houston, Starks, LJ. Go back to Oak. He's talking about those Knicks, right? But also something that is taking place right now is our identity. Reputation has been restored. For you to have the announcers on the national media say something like that, these Knicks don't get outworked. They don't beat themselves. They're disciplined. They're gritty. They get into you. They play defense. They're always coming at you. Our identity as a defense-oriented organization, a bunch of dogs up and down the roster, matchup nightmares, has been restored. Our reputation has been restored. And if you know anything, in life, one of the most valuable things that you have is your reputation. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see that's happening. And one other thing before I go to wrap this up is the Tibbs narrative is changing. The Tibbs narrative is changing. And one thing I'm going to say is the Tibbs narrative needs to change with the fan base. This is not about who was right, who was wrong, who was whatever. This is about your coach. This is about your coach who's in the running this year for Coach of the Year. I don't care what Sacramento was doing. I don't care what Mike Brown is doing. Tom Thibodeau, at the end of this season, Tom Thibodeau should be Coach of the Year. Because equally, there were zero expectations. And the East is stronger than the West this year. It started out that way. It may be a little bit different after the trading deadline, but the way it started out, the East was much different. And this move didn't just happen after KD and Kyrie was out. We started before that. Tom Thibodeau should be Coach of the Year. So if you have a coach in his 3 years, 2 out of the 3 years, he's in consideration for Coach of the Year, and in totality, he would be a 3-time Coach of the Year recipient, award winner. How can you speak against that? He's in a whole different era, a whole different style of game, and he's finding success today in today's NBA. And he did it by rediscovering the New York DNA and making sure there was a transfusion into this team. He did it when they traded for Hart, and we got the heart transplant. And we ensured that New York DNA was in every member of this team. And I have here, there's a Larry Brown effect. Because if we ride this thing to where it is we want to go, and we get up there in terms of the conversation of the 2004 Detroit Pistons, where unexpectedly and against all odds, you make it to the finals against a juggernaut such as a Kobe and a Shaq, and you find a way through teamwork, playing the right way, playing your style of play, and you win, Tom Thibodeau will no longer be looked at as an antiquated type of coach. He'll be looked at as a model of the type of system teams need to implement in order to win a championship. The NBA is a copycat league. So I'm happy to see that the narrative on Tom Thibodeau is changing. I love that. And yeah, I said it. I think we're Eastern Conference contenders, and I think we're going to be championship contenders. I already hear the talk. As you could already see, it was in the chat. The odds are there. They've gone up. That the New York Knicks have odds that are a little bit better in terms of us winning a championship. Once again, bro, I have receipts. I made a video in the summer about a year ago summer from this summer, where I said the New York Knicks framework, the way that they've broken everything down and they're building it from the ground up, is similar to the Golden State Warriors. And I did a whole video exactly making the parallels and saying how freaky it is. And at the end of that video, I said in 2024, the New York Knicks will be NBA champions. Telling you I'm Stradamus. It's good to see where they are right now. It might seem blasphemous because, we're enjoying this stretch, but I'm telling you, all the pieces are there. All the pieces are there. All right? So I think I've talked enough. Let me go to the chat before I sign out. But it was a beautiful thing. I definitely wanted to get on here, spend some time with y'all. We deserve everything that we get from this team. This team deserves to dominate. I love it. And we're just in a good situation right now. We are really in a good situation right now. So let me see who we have here. Let's see. I already did that one. Shout out to you, George, once again. Yep, Big Task at Hand. Shout out to you as well. All right, here we go. So Big Task at Hand says, quick question. I know it's way too early, but what do you think about the possibility of the acquisition of Jeremy Grant on the Knicks? Depending on when, if we're talking about before this playoff stretch, I don't know. I don't know if the team is looking to pick up a piece to help us get to the stretch. I do think right now we have a certain level of chemistry and cohesion, and the rotation is already tight, that I think Tom Thibodeau might be opposed to disrupting that right now. But in the offseason, if they're talking about picking them up in the offseason and signing them, I think that's something that's going to be looked at. I think a lot will be determined by what we do in the postseason. And if there are any glaring weaknesses that we need to fill, I think the front office and the coaching staff will be on the same page in terms of making that move. But you also got to know that somebody will either need to be moved or their role will have to change as well. So I love Jeremy Grant as a player. I think in terms of his offense, his versatility, his defense, his length, man, I think if we add that to the lineup, I think it would be potent. But the thing would be where, like, whose minutes will be impacted? Where will we plug them in at? Will RJ turn this whole thing around and be impressive, where we don't have to get Grant? So I think a lot will need to be determined this end of the season stretch and this playoff run, and in the summertime, whether we go all the way or not. It's going to be a beautiful summer. Just to see in terms of that may determine where we are in terms of the draft, but free agency moves. I think so far this season up until this point has been so enjoyable. Watching this team go through their struggles, find success, find sustained winning, and reintroduce them to the NBA and reintroduce themselves to the NBA as relevant, as beyond relevant, as being, you got to contend with us. You got to deal with us now. You got to deal with that problem in New York now. You got to deal with the real team in New York right now. So that's the piece that I love. But we'll see in terms of Jeremy Grant. We're going to go to the next guy. George Thomas says, my era indeed, 100%. Kenneth Lane, KL, my brother. Let's go. He says, I really felt like a playoff game. Yo, it did. Miami too. It did. And what I love is we didn't even come close to faltering. Everybody outside of Knicks Nation was expecting us to fold. And it's a beautiful thing when we are watching the team. Part of us has that little PTSD that says, I want to turn the channel real quick and then turn back and see if the score is even, because maybe it's our bad luck that's messing this team up. Knicks fans, we think like that. We paranoid like that. But we have doubt because we've seen it time and time again that they don't give up. They fight back. That's the coach, y'all. That's the coach and the culture. I would love to see if this championship, if this team ends in a championship in the next 5 years, I can't wait to see the documentary, all the behind the scenes thing, because that's where the legends are made. When Pat Riley talked about he put money in the ceiling of Boston Garden, and he said, we coming back here for the money, or wherever it was. When we win, or Doc Rivers, I'm sorry, it was Doc Rivers that put money in the ceiling and said, if we do what we need to do, we'll be back here meeting them for the finals. Let's come back here and get that. That's psychological. If it was Pat Riley and everybody throwing something that they value in the box as sacrificing, those are stories that are built behind the scenes that are shared when teams win championships. And this team right now is playing like they've given something up to play for each other. So I would love to know what were some of the discussions that were had behind the scenes that helped them lock in and contribute to the streak of winning. I hope that it ends in a champion. Man, look, listen, I'm playing in traffic if we get a championship. And I'm coming with 4 broken bones and do this podcast. Okay? But I can't wait. So shout out to you, KL. Kenneth also says, hit those likes, fellas, please. 13, we're in the chat. I know we rounding this thing up and we finishing this thing up, but do me a favor, hit them like buttons and show support for your boy. My guy Law says, you're right. I want to see how we start handling those highest level superstars. That will show us much. It will. It will, once again. But it'll also be the way we got to stick to what got us here. Good, bad, or indifferent in terms of the outcome. We got to stick with what's got us here. And that's a team-oriented approach. It could be anybody's night to get 30. I love having Jalen Brunson as a leader. Something I've noticed Jalen Brunson does is he deflects the praise. And I'm noticing that Josh Hart is starting to do it as well. When the media is trying to make a story out of Josh Hart being the reason why the Knicks have been undefeated on the streak. And it's true. There's some truth to that. But we've been winning. Our culture has changed prior to him getting here. So he's trying to distance himself from that narrative. But I notice Jalen Brunson does that as well. Jalen Brunson knows he's the reason we are where we are. He knows that. But he's trying to spread that love to Julius. After the Miami Heat game, or was it after the Boston game? It was after the Miami Heat game, where they got a picture of him coming into the locker room. And they were all like, it was after he hit that shot. Julius Randle hit that shot. But you could hear Jalen Brunson's voice say, okay, Sergeant. So I think that is Julius's nickname that they gave him, calling him Sergeant. And that's when you understand leadership and how to empower somebody. Jalen Brunson, I believe, is a superstar. But if I'm calling Jalen Brunson a superstar, I got to call Julius superstar as well. And what I mean by that is you impact the game in so many different ways. And you can get your shot when you need it. Jalen Brunson has showed proof of being able to do that on the floor all season already. And Julius is starting to do it as well. And it seems as if they're tied. So as high as Jalen Brunson goes, Julius will go. We're hoping to get RJ here as well. All right. But I love that piece as well. All right. So shout out to you guys. We will see more when we face the superstars. Wellflower says the IQ era. Yeah, let's go. Wellflower also says, what up from Romania? We got Whale in here from Romania. Throw your ones up to show support for our international Knick fan brothers. Let's go. Throw your ones up in the chat. We got our guy from Romania. Wellflower also says Tibbs is a Riley disciple through Jeff Van Gundy. Yes. And I also read that he said he wants to bring that culture of Pat Riley here to the Knicks. And what he means is the culture that the Heat set in Miami, he wants to establish that here in New York. So I'm telling you guys this. I think with the success of this season and next season, Tom Thibodeau is going to be there. But I think part of the agreement will be, Tom Thibodeau is here for 5 years. His contract is 5 years. I think he's going to carry out his 5 years. But I truly think after the 5th year, They're going to look at his resume and see how far he's been able to take the team. If he hasn't taken them to a championship, I think that's when they're going to pass the reins to Johnny Bryant. And then Tom Thibodeau is going to move to the front office. And that'll exactly mirror. And by that time, we'll have established such a winning culture that we will have a next level, next stratosphere type of star want to join what it is we're doing. All of that is in the timeline. Pay attention to the signs. All of that is in the timeline. So Tibbs may not get us, he may get us to the, he may not get to the mountaintop with us, but he's seen the mountaintop being an assistant in Boston. So he may set everything in place. He may just be in a different position to get that ring. Johnny Bryant will have been there. He's the next up. He'll be that uncle who can take over the reins, just like Spoelstra did. And that when he said that, I said, I see y'all vision. I see what you're doing. I'm proud of it. And I hope that it comes to fruition. I want Tibbs to win a chip as a head coach. He's never won it as a head coach. I want him to do it with us. Because it'll be a time when nobody believed we could win the chip. Nobody. Not even our fan base. None of us will have believed, but the people who were in that room and on the court. I want to go to the Canyon of Heroes and be part of that parade. To see Tibbs holding a chip while IQ have his hands over him, you know what I mean? Obi and Julius wilding out. Seeing the streamers come down, people hanging out of the buildings. New York, no better place. I want the world, the eyes of the world to be back on New York for that parade. I could taste it. Let's get behind our squad for it. Yeah, I see all those ones. Let's go. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. I want to thank y'all for joining me, man. Listen, our Knicks, bro. Our Knicks are in a good space. That's the Eastern Conference. I had that with Perk, and I want to end it on that. I just want to let you guys know, continue to ride with us. Enjoy all the media. They got no choice to talk about us. Check me out on YouTube. Check me out on Twitter. If you ain't following me on Twitter, let's be friends, man. Come on, man. Let's link this thing up. So SB Knicks, holla at me here on YouTube. SB Knicks, roll with me. Stay part of the SB community. I'm going to continue to do my best to give great content. I may have a little bit of a dip towards the end of this month because, as many of you know, I'm currently in Indiana. I've been living in Indiana for 7 years, but I recently got a new job, which takes me back to the Mecca. So I'm moving to the Bronx. All right. So shout out to my New York Yankees. All right. But I'll be moving there over the period of the next month. So a lot of my content may not be live, but it may be little pieces of content. Check me out, ride with me. I appreciate you all for supporting me. And two things. First, same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. And second, we are here and we got right now. Sheer Brilliance Knicks. Peace. Well, Flower, you are not an IU alum. I was out here working for Purdue. So we got beef. Okay? We got beef. I've been at Purdue for 7 years. Okay? But shout out to IU. Shout out to you, Will Flower Dag, all the way back in Romania. I appreciate you all. All right? Have a wonderful day. If you're on your way home, I hope I could help in making your drive a little bit easier. And let's support these Knicks. All right? Sheer Brilliance Knicks. I'm out. Peace.
Victory. I just got another victory. Opposition said they sick of me. We turn their future to history.